The Pharaoh's mask is a lie. The solid gold projected absolute, untouchable Egyptian divine immortality.
Yet the striking blue bands revealed a shocking vulnerability. Egypt possessed absolutely zero domestic supply of this mineral.
The physical rock had to travel thousands of miles.
Every single ounce of that
sacred Lapis Lazuli originated from one treacherous mountain. By tracing the chemical signature of this stone, we expose the absolute fragility of ancient superpowers. Geology dictates the geopolitical power structure. How did an isolated rock formation in remote Afghanistan dictate the aesthetic wealth of the entire ancient world? We must follow the earliest ledgers of the Silk Road. Let us excavate the world's original monopoly of luxury. Geography is the ultimate economic moat, deep within the unforgiving Hindu Kush mountain range of Afghanistan. The Sarai Sang mines sit at a staggering alpine altitude. For over 6 millennia, this single geological vein dominated trade.
Nature deliberately concentrated the entire global supply of this brilliant blue mineral here.
The extreme isolation of this singular geological anomaly birthed the world's first true globalized luxury cartel. Lapis Lazuli is a chemical complex. It is not a single, easily categorized elemental mineral structure. It is a metamorphic rock comprised primarily of rich lazurite. Calcite provides the white veins, while pyrite adds golden flecks. These specific geological conditions are incredibly rare on the planet. The Sarai Sang deposit possessed a uniquely high concentration of the deep blue lazurite. This exact chemical composition created a physical aesthetic that no other ancient society could naturally replicate. Extraction required immense human physical sacrifice.
Miners faced brutal
winters and sheer, treacherous, high-altitude cliff faces. They utilized ancient fire-setting techniques to crack the unyielding limestone. Massive bonfires heated the rock before cold water shattered it. This violent and labor-intensive process severely limited the total volume of extractable global supply. By keeping the production rate agonizingly slow, the mountain naturally enforced a permanent state of scarcity. The Silk Road began right here, long before silk or spices traveled the vast Asian steppes. Caravans of heavy lapis lazuli carved the first trade arteries. Mules carried the rough stones down treacherous, winding mountain passes. The raw material entered the earliest organized global supply chains.
Every mile
traveled away from the Hindu Kush exponentially multiplied the physical value of the stone.
We witnessed the foundational
macroeconomic principle where logistical difficulty is directly transmuted into immense financial
acted as the great clearinghouse.
Mesopotamia acted as the great clearinghouse.
Became a crucial
The ancient Sumerian city of Ur became a crucial hub. Artisans transformed the raw Afghan rock into highly standardized luxury.
Elaborate jewelry.
They carved intricate cylinder seals, elaborate jewelry, and sacred amulets. These refined goods effectively functioned as the earliest form of dense, easily transportable, hard asset capital. By standardizing the raw commodity into recognized luxury goods, Sumerian ledgers codified its universal perceived value. Egypt consumed the lion's share completely. The pharaohs possessed infinite gold, but fiercely coveted the blue. They believed lapis lazuli was the literal hair of gods. Royal demand created an insatiable, inelastic pull on the market. The Egyptian state treasury willingly traded massive quantities of heavy gold for the imported blue stone. This astonishing exchange rate perfectly illustrates how artificial scarcity can completely override traditional elemental precious metals. The supply chain was incredibly fragile. A single warlord could disrupt the entire global blue market. If nomadic tribes blocked the mountain passes, the flow ceased. Yet the elite
Egyptian
ruling
artisans
class
would be
always
forced to
demanded
halt
the
production of
undeniable
artifacts.
physical weight of the
They
genuine
attempted to create
Afghan
cheap
stone.
glass imitations known as
Counterfeits
faience.
inevitably fail when
Yet
a
the
sovereign
elite ruling
power's
class
legitimacy is
always
deeply
demanded the
tethered to a
undeniable
verifiable
physical weight
geological
of the
monopoly.
genuine Afghan
The
stone.
Indus Valley
Through
facilitated
counterfeits
the transit.
inevitably fail. When a
Harappan
sovereign
merchants
power's
managed the
legitimacy is
complex
deeply
logistics
tethered
of
to
the
a
overland
verifiable
routes.
geological
They
monopoly.
maintained standardized weights
The
and
Indus
measures
Valley
to authenticate
facilitated the
shipments.
transit.
This required a high
Harappan
degree of
merchants managed the
international
complex
trust and
logistics
coordination.
of the overland
The
routes.
sheer logistical difficulty
They
of
maintained
moving heavy
standardized
rock
weights and measures
forged
to
the
authenticate
earliest
the
complex
shipments.
international trade
This
agreements.
required a high degree of
The movement
international
of a
trust
single
and
luxury
coordination.
commodity effectively accelerated
The sheer
development
logistical
of
difficulty
sophisticated
of moving heavy
cross-border
rock
economic
forged the
infrastructure.
earliest
The
complex
Sari-Sang
international
monopoly
trade
remained
agreements.
absolute.
The movement
No
of
other
a single
significant
luxury
deposits were
commodity
discovered in the
effectively
ancient
accelerated
world.
the development of
The mountain
sophisticated
rulers
cross-border
dictated the
economic
exact flow of
infrastructure.
global wealth. They held
The
kings and
Sari-Sang
emperors
monopoly
entirely captive
remained
to their
absolute.
geography. It was a
No other
masterclass
significant
in
deposits were
asymmetrical
discovered in the
geopolitical
ancient world.
resource control economics.
The mountain rulers dictated the
control
exact
the
flow
source
of global wealth.
of divine blue
They held
was to
kings and
tax the
emperors
vanity of the
entirely
world.
captive to their geography.
This geographic
It was a
choke
masterclass
point
in
demonstrates
asymmetrical
that
geopolitical
whoever
resource
commands
control
the origin
economics.
of a critical material
To control the
controls
source of the
downstream
divine
empire.
blue was to tax the vanity of the world.
Clay tablets detail the exact
This
exchange
geographic
ratios
choke
of
point
these
demonstrates
materials.
that whoever
We see
commands the
earliest
origin of a
mathematical
critical material
calculations of supply and
controls the
demand.
downstream
The
empire.
price of Lapis Lazuli
The absolute
fluctuated
choke.
precisely with geopolitical
The ledger records a
stability.
profound truth.
When the trade routes were
Clay
secure,
tablets detail the
blue
exact
wealth flowed
exchange
smoothly
ratios of
into
these
the
materials.
Mediterranean and beyond.
We see the earliest mathematical
ancient
calculations
accounting
of
records
supply and
prove
demand.
that the fundamental
The
laws
price of
material
lapis lazuli
economics have remained
fluctuated
completely
precisely
unchanged.
with
The
geopolitical
mountain
stability.
outlasted every single
When the
empire.
trade routes were
Sumer
secure,
fell to
the blue
Akkadians,
wealth flowed
yet
smoothly
the mining
into the Mediterranean
continued
and
unabased.
beyond. Like these
The
ancient
Egyptian
accounting
New
records
Kingdom
prove that the
collapsed,
fundamental laws
but
of
the
material
stone kept
economics
flowing.
have remained
The
completely
Roman Empire
unchanged.
expanded, hungrily absorbing the
The
blue
mountain
luxury
outlasted
goods.
every single
Sovereign
empire.
powers constantly shifted,
Sumer fell to the
but the
Akkadians,
geological source never
yet the
moved.
mining continued
The
unabated.
Sari-Sang vein acted
The Egyptian
as
New
a
Kingdom
permanent,
collapsed.
stabilizing anchor
but the stone
amidst the
kept
chaos
flowing.
of human history.
The Roman Empire expanded,
relentless
hungrily absorbing the
extraction
blue
proves
luxury goods.
that rare physical
Sovereign
assets
powers constantly
consistently
shifted,
outlive the political
but the geological
structures that
source
covet them.
never moved.
We must trace
The Sari-Sang
forward.
vein acted as a
The
permanent
ancient
stabilizing
world eventually
anchor amidst
transitioned
the chaos
into the European
of human
Middle
history.
Ages. The demand
This relentless
Afghan
extraction
stone
proves
shifted
that rare
entirely
physical
in
assets
purpose.
consistently
It
outlive the
moved
political
from
structures
the
that
Pharaoh's
covet
physical
them.
tomb.
We must trace
the
the stone
palette.
forward. The ancient world
the raw
eventually
material was
transitioned into
about
the
to
European
undergo a
Middle Ages.
magnificent and
The demand for the
violent chemical
Afghan stone
transformation
shifted
in the West.
entirely in purpose.
By
It moved from the
processing
Pharaoh's
rock
physical
into fine
tomb
powder,
to the palette.
artisans unlocked a
The
devastating
raw
new
material
dimension
was
of
about to
artificial
undergo
scarcity.
a magnificent
The
and
Renaissance
violent
demanded
chemical
absolute
transformation
visual
in the
perfection.
West.
European painters
By
required a
processing the
blue
rock
that would
into
not
fine
quickly
powder,
fade.
artisans unlocked a devastating new
copper-based
dimension
pigments
of artificial
like azurite
scarcity.
degraded into a
The
sick
Renaissance
green.
demanded
To
absolute
paint the
visual
robes of the
perfection.
Virgin Mary required
European
permanence.
painters required a blue
The
that would
Afghan
not quickly
Lapis
fade.
Lazuli was the
Cheaper
only chemical
copper-based
structure
pigments like
capable of
azurite
eternal
degraded
brilliance.
into a sickly green.
By grinding
To paint the
heavy
robes of the
stone
Virgin
into
Mary required permanence. The Afghan lapis lazuli was the only chemical structure capable of eternal brilliance.
Purification.
By grinding
Raw
the heavy
Afghan rock
stone into a
contained heavy
microscopic
impurities
powder,
like gray calcite.
artisans inadvertently
Venetian
multiplied
apothecaries
its fundamental
developed a
economic
painstaking,
scarcity.
labor-intensive chemical
Ultramarine
extraction
was born
process.
from violent
They
purification.
needed the pulverized stone
The
into
raw
a complex
Afghan rock
wax
contained
dough.
heavy impurities like gray calcite. Venetian apothecaries developed a painstaking, labor-intensive chemical extraction process.
metallurgical refinement stripped away
They kneaded the
90%
pulverized
of the raw
stone
imported
into a
physical
complex
material
wax
entirely.
dough.
The price.
Only the purest,
Shot was
finest
entirely
lazurite
mathematical.
particles would
Producing a
successfully
single
wash
ounce
out
of pigment
into the water.
required massive raw tonnage.
This severe metallurgical refinement
Immense
stripped
physical
away
labor
90% of
compounded
the
the
raw
already
imported
staggering
physical
import
material
costs.
entirely.
The final, purified blue
The price
dust
shock was
became
an
entirely
extraordinary
mathematical.
macroeconomic
Producing
anomaly.
a single ounce of pigment
The
required
vibrant
massive
pigment
raw
officially
tonnage.
surpassed the
The
physical
immense
market
physical
price
labor
of pure
compounded
solid
the
gold.
already staggering import
For the
costs.
first time in history,
The final,
the aesthetic
purified
alteration
blue
of a
dust
rock outweighed
became an extraordinary macroeconomic
elemental precious
anomaly.
metals.
The vibrant pigment officially surpassed the physical market price of pure, solid gold.
Of ultramarine
For the first time in history,
masterpieces
the
were
aesthetic
literally
alteration of a
valued by their
rock
precise
outweighed
chemical
elemental
fluid.
precious metals.
Ledgers record.
Contracts
being
dictated the
aggressively
flow of
sued
wealth.
for stealing the pigment.
Wealthy patrons micromanaged the
Catholic
exact
Church
ounces of
weaponized
ultramarine
this immense
utilized.
cost.
Masterpieces were
project
literally
supreme
valued by their
institutional
precise
power.
chemical blue weight.
The staggering financial
Ledgers
weight
record
of
artists
pigment
being
transformed
aggressively
religion.
sued for stealing
Paintings
the
into
pigment.
verifiable vaults
The
of hard
Catholic
capital.
Church weaponized this immense
The supply
cost
chain
to visually
finally
project
choked
supreme
Europe. The
institutional
monopoly
power.
from the Sarisang mines
The staggering
remained
financial weight of the
absolutely
pigment
unbroken.
transformed religious paintings
Venice
into
controlled the
verifiable
singular
vaults of
European
hard
gateway
capital.
for
The incoming stone.
The supply chain
This
finally
intense
choked
artificial
Europe.
choke point
The
drained
monopoly
massive
from the
capital
Sarai
from
San
Renaissance
mines
economies.
remained absolutely
A single
mountain in
unbroken.
Afghanistan actively
Venice
dictated
controlled the
financial
singular
ledgers
European
of the
gateway
Italian
for the incoming
Renaissance.
stone. This
brutal
intense artificial
economic
choke
squeeze
point
ultimately
drained
proved that
massive
whoever
capital
controls
from
the raw
Renaissance
geological
economies.
origin
A
dictates
single
the
mountain in
future.
Afghanistan actively
Innovation
dictated the
is
financial
born from
ledgers of
severe
the Italian
scarcity.
Renaissance.
The crushing
In
cost of
Alpdaris,
ultramarine
this
eventually
brutal economic
forced a
squeeze
scientific
ultimately
revolution.
proved that whoever
Chemists
controls the raw
desperately
geological
raced to
origin
synthesize
dictates the
complex
future.
blue lazurite structure.
Innovation is born from
They
severe
sought to break
scarcity.
the punishing
Logistical
The
chain
crushing cost
completely
of
permanently.
ultramarine eventually
The
forced a
financial
scientific
pressure
revolution.
to synthesize the stone laid the
Chemists
groundwork
desperately
for.
raced to synthesize the
Modern
complex
industrial
blue
chemistry.
lazurite structure.
When the
They
physical
sought to
limit
break
of
the
an asset
punishing
is
logistical
reached,
chain
capital
completely
inevitably
permanently.
pivots.
To fund
The financial pressure to
replication.
synthesize the stone
Geopolitics
laid the
always
groundwork
repeats
for modern
material
industrial
history.
chemistry.
The ancient Lapis Lazuli monopoly
When
is
the physical
not
limit
merely
of an
a relic.
asset is reached,
It
capital
serves as the
inevitably
exact
pivots to
blueprint
fund
for
artificial
modern
replication.
economic warfare.
Geopolitics always repeats material history.
Vulnerable to physical
The ancient Lapis Lazuli monopoly
We have
is
simply
not merely
traded
a
the
relic.
vanity.
of blue
It serves
pigment
as
for
the exact
industrial
blueprint for
technological
modern
survival.
economic warfare.
The
The global
Sarisang
supply
choke
chain
point
remains
perfectly
entirely
mirrors the
vulnerable
modern
to physical
Sovereign control
geography.
over critical rare earth
We have
elements.
simply traded the vanity
Silicon
of blue
Valley
pigment
demands a new
for
blue.
industrial technological
Modern
survival.
empires rely
The
entirely
Sarai
on
Sang
lithium,
choke
cobalt,
point
and
perfectly
neodymium
mirrors
magnets.
the modern sovereign control
These critical
over
metals
critical
are
rare earth
hyper-concentrated in
elements.
very
specific global
Silicon
regions.
Valley demands a new blue.
Superpowers scramble to secure
Modern
these
empires
remote,
rely
treacherous
entirely on
extraction
lithium,
supply chains.
cobalt, and neodymium
A single
magnets.
nation commanding the
These
geological
critical
source
metals
can
are
completely
hyper-concentrated
paralyze
in
global
very
downstream
specific global
manufacturing.
regions.
To monopolize
Superpowers
the
scramble to secure
the
these
physical
remote,
extraction of a
treacherous
rare
extraction
asset
supply
is to inevitably
chains.
dictate the geopolitical
A single nation
future.
commanding the geological
ledger
source
remains
can completely
completely
paralyze
unforgiving.
global
The
downstream
pharaohs paid
manufacturing.
immense premiums to project
To
their divine
monopolize the
power.
physical extraction
The
of a rare
Renaissance
asset
Church drained
is to
its
inevitably
coffers for the
dictate the
ultramarine
geopolitical
blue.
future.
Today, modern
ledger
states
remains
weaponize
completely
tariffs and
unforgiving.
export.
Bans on
The
minerals.
pharaohs paid immense premiums
The fundamental
to project their
mechanics of an
divine
asymmetrical
power,
resource
and the
monopoly
Renaissance
have
Church
remained
drained its
completely,
coffers for the
flawlessly
ultramarine blue.
Intact. We are
Today,
witnessing the timeless
modern states
economic
weaponize
reality
tariffs
that
and
geographic
export bans
scarcity
on minerals.
always dominates
The
fiat
fundamental
political
mechanics of an asymmetrical
Matter
resource
dictates
monopoly
the fate of
have remained
empires.
completely,
The story of
flawlessly
material
intact.
economics is a constant.
We are witnessing
brutal
the timeless
struggle.
economic reality
It is
that
the
geographic
perpetual race
scarcity
to
always
control the
dominates fiat
elemental
political
earth.
declarations. Matter
We cannot
dictates
simply
the fate
code
of
our way
empires.
out of physical reality.
The story of material
The
economics
hardest
is a
assets.
constant, brutal struggle.
Ever
It is the
pulled
perpetual
from the
race
ground
to control
will
the elemental
always
earth.
command the highest premium.
We cannot simply code our way out of physical
The
reality.
relentless march of
The hardest
material
assets
economics
ever pulled from the
ultimately
ground
leads us to
will always
acknowledge
command
our
the
absolute
highest
reliance
premium.
on geography.
The relentless march of material economics ultimately
Scarcity
leads us
forces
to
a
acknowledge our
profound
absolute
human
reliance
reckoning.
on geography. Scarcity forces a profound human
Empires
reckoning.
violently
Whilst the
collapsed.
Afghan mountains stood
Its deep
silent
blue
while
veins
global empires
represented
violently
an ultimate,
collapsed.
unyielding physical
Its
truth.
deep blue veins
True
represented
power
an ultimate,
always resides
unyielding
exactly
physical
where the
truth.
geological extraction
True
begins.
power always resides exactly
No
where the
amount of
geological
imperial
extraction
decree
begins.
Can ever magically conjure
No amount of
resources from
imperial
barren
decree can
rock.
ever magically conjure resources from barren rock.
By tracing
By tracing the ancient Silk Road,
we uncover
we
the
uncover the exact
exact
macroeconomic architecture of our modern world.